right, welcome to the March 5th, 2026 meeting of Queens Community Board 2. If you would like, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for all, I think we can all agree, no endless war. Our community values peace, diplomacy, and human life. And as a board, we stand for members of our community who have loved ones affected by conflict. And we hope everyone who's in the region, including family of our board members, gets back swiftly and safely. We got a packed agenda today. Reminder of the WAIT rule, W-A-I-T, why am I talking? Let's keep comments focused, constructive, and respectful. Yeah, we got 2 votes, and we got to get out of here by 10:15, by 10. So we will strictly follow the time blocks for discussion. I know we have the some things worth discussion, but we're going to stick to the timer as best as possible when we get there. So without further adu, let's jump to comments from representatives of elected officials. Did you sign up? Did you sign up? Yes, I am. Okay. Wait, hang on. I don't think. Grace Mack? No. Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't see your name here. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Starting with Mercedes, please, and then Isamar. Isamar? Okay. Doesn't say.
I'm short, so this is fine. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me again. Mercedes Jennings. I'm from Senator Mike Gianaris' office. Just giving you a quick few updates. First and foremost, again, updates are pretty similar from last month. I just want to get a recap and kind of let you know what our office has been working on. He continues to stay diligent on passing legislation, as well as more specifically the budget. Hopefully, keep fingers crossed, budget passes before the 31st of March on time this year, hopefully. I know we haven't had a great track record the last 2 years, but I really hope we stay on target with that, and so does he. Also, we are trying to do one more event with the DMV to do a real ID DMV event in our district, specifically maybe in Woodside, or like near Maspeth, just so that we can get a lot of our seniors and elderly those who are disabled, unable to go to the DMV, get their real ID, as well as any other DMV services while they're there. In addition, we have been working with the MTA recently, especially because of the recent snowstorms, and also just following up to make sure that the Omni cards are working effectively. We are currently working on making sure that half-fare cards and those who are disabled who have those half-fare cards are actually working and taking half fare and not full fare. So that's still in the works. Also, in addition, by the upcoming school year, hopefully the design of the Omni cards for students will change so they'll be more durable and not mess up every time it rains or snows. Also, our office is continuing to track different bus stops that are still, unfortunately, under the radar of possibly getting removed, even though our office strongly advocated, along with other elected officials' offices, to stay. So hopefully we can continue to be successful with that, especially our Q32 stop over here that drops us off here to Sunnyside Community Services. Thank you. Actually, thanks to the Senator. Last but not least, as you know, our office is located 3718 Northern Boulevard. I assume everybody is also very conscious and aware of, Twitter, or I know it's called X now, for quite some time. The senator did announce a few weeks ago that he has decided not to run for re-election, and this will be his last year. He has served as a representative in our district for about 25 years, if you count his time in the assembly. Yes, and so just wanted to make that public and let everybody know. Are there any questions? Yes. Hi, Sheila.
Let me get the mic. Sorry.
Hi, Mercedes. Good to see you.
Hi, Sheila. How are you? It's good
I'm
to see you
okay.
too.
Thanks. Follow up on a question I had before about, maybe this isn't to you, maybe this is to the city. The ferry passes, so maybe this is to the city.
The
My
ferry,
mistake.
you talking about like the ferry for the Staten Island ferry?
No. The new NYC ferry.
Okay.
I think that's city, my apologies, but because they were out of service, and so I will bring that to the council member's office, that we had asked last month about being extended for the amount of time that they were, because they have expiration dates.
Okay.
And so, anyway, not your purview.
It's okay. I mean, if anything, if, the council needed our support in any way, we can definitely provide it. Any other questions? Okay. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
And a round of applause, not just for Mercedes, but for Senator Gianaris for the years of service, the impact and he's been great for a lot of us. Adam Lee from Grace Meng's office, please unmute yourself and give your report.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry that I couldn't join in person, but I'm happy to join virtually and provide some updates on behalf of the office. Not too many updates as of right now. I do want to go over just some of the things that the member has been working on. Representative Meng works to rein in immigration and customs enforcements. Representative Meng stands with the hardworking immigrant communities in Queens. What ICE is doing in New York and across the country is deeply disturbing, and Representative Meng will speak up about it. Following the horrific shootings that have occurred, Representative Meng called for an immediate and thorough investigation, which includes state and local authorities to ensure full transparency. She joined her colleagues in calling for the impeachment, which we are happy to report that as of today, it does look like those calls have been able to work, as Kristi Noem has ultimately been demoted. But she joined her colleagues in that impeachment and removal of the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. And Representative Meng introduced her ICE Badge Visibility Act to require ICE agents to visibly display their badge numbers. And she is working on additional legislation to ensure ICE adheres to the same rules as every other law enforcement agency. If you would like to report an immigration issue, I please urge you to call our district office here at 718-358-6364, or you can email our casework team here at ny06casework@mail.house.gov. Just some other things that we're doing here in the district office and also in DC. Meng, along with Senator Liu, led a letter in urging the State Department to bring back Americans that are stuck in the Middle East. With commercial flights canceled due to the war with Iran, many Americans are unable to book trips back to the U.S. The Congress member, along with her colleagues, have called for Secretary of State Rubio to use charter flights, military operations, and other resources possible to help stranded Americans leave. The member, along with her colleagues, have also criticized the administration for failing to have these evacuation plans already in place. There are some movements that are occurring with this. So if you know anybody that's been affected with their flights in the Middle East due to these recent developments, please again contact our office, as there can be some consular resources that we can provide and connect you with to ensure that we get some of these issues resolved. Also, since the last meeting, we also had the State of the Union with the president, and Representative Meng was happy to select the NYC deputy mayor as her guest for that day. The Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, Dr. Helen Ortega, was there to stand against the president's attacks on healthcare and their impacts on New York, and we were proud to go ahead and have her present for that event. Also happening in our district office that we would like to make an announcement about is that we are having some free tax preparation services The Congresswoman is in collaboration with Urban Upbound and New York City Council member Lynn Schulman to provide free, high-quality tax preparation services every Tuesday through April 14. Appointments are available in 1 hour increments and will be conducted by Urban Upbound certified tax preparers. Again, constituents
Adam,
can schedule an
you're at
in-person
time.
appointment. Oh, sorry about that. But yes, that would be all for me.
One question for you. Go ahead.
This is a question for you and any other representatives from any of our congressional representatives, is we now have U.S. service members who have also perished in the illegal wars that are happening overseas. Where is the Congresswoman standing on continuing to send funding to Israel for bombs that without conditions?
Yes, absolutely. So for specific matters like this, I always like to refrain to go ahead and loop in my DC team to get a more exact answer. In regards to this, I know that the member has spoken on just actions in the area. That some that I don't want to just get wrong off the top of my head, but definitely something that I can go ahead take note of today and see a full developed response to go ahead and provide either by next meeting, or I can even have that done before and give it as a response to the board in general.
Else? All right, Adam, thank you. You're off the hook.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Corey. Okay, yeah, Corey, sorry, I didn't see your hand. Go for it. You have to...
Hi, Adam. Thanks for coming. So I had two questions, just for clarity's sake. One is, does Congressmember Meng support abolishing ICE or just, reforming their operations? Can you hear me?
Apologies for that. I was having some issues unmuting there. In regards to what the member is working on right now, as mentioned previously, there is legislation that she's doing to rein in ICE as an agency. The member is specific, as in she definitely wants to go ahead and hold accountable some of these actions that are being taken place, and she definitely doesn't want any of these to continue. In order to do so, she definitely believes it's imperative that she worked with her colleagues to go ahead and pass this legislation to prevent some of these things from happening again and rein in ICE as an agency as a whole. That with the calls for impeachment on the Department of Homeland Security, these are just some of the actions she plans on ongoing, and again, working with her colleagues to respond to some of the ICE incidents that have been occurring.
Okay, so hearing she wants to rein them in but not abolish them. Also, in terms of accountability, I know there were efforts to impeach Kristi Noem. She's now been fired. Will there be any effort from Congressmember Meng's office to hold her accountable for the way she weaponized DHS to, oppress our communities?
Absolutely. And as mentioned, I think the member has called out the accountability, of course, in getting her impeached, but accountability as a whole. And I can get a more, again, definitive answer on how we look on planning to do that. But I do know that the member is looking to not only hold the agency accountable for these actions, and then also the former the Department of Homeland Security lead. But I can again get a better of a response in exactly how these actions are being taken. Either I can have them presented by next meeting, or provide an answer on more pointable action items on what the member's been doing.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thanks.
I think it's
Corey,
early for a lot of us. Okay. I'll just say quickly.
Yeah, in the interest of time, let's keep moving. Thanks, Adam.
It's
Appreciate
a
it.
relief that she stepped down, but we don't want it to end there. We want there to be real consequences for the behavior of that administration.
All right, thanks, Corey. Thanks, Adam. We'll move on to Tiffany. You just got here from Congresswoman Velasquez's office.
Good evening, CB2. Nice to see you on this wet, rainy day. My name is Tiffany. For those of you who may not know, I work for Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez, District NY07. Try to keep it quick and swift. So some legislation that she has sponsored in the past few weeks is something called the Good Neighbor Act. This calls for the elimination of the Monroe Doctrine to end the United States' ongoing interference with the affairs of Latin American and Caribbean countries. This is to resolve formally to end the doctrine, turning the page on interfering in the region and implementing a policy-focused partnership and mutual respect. One bill that she actually co-sponsored a few days ago is called the Humanitarian Standards for Individuals in ICE and CBP Custody Act. This bill will require that ICE and CBP provide initial health screenings by licensed medical professionals to all detainees to provide access to prescription medications and further health care. So just want to touch upon something that all of us may know what's going on right now in the world. As we know, the Trump administration launched a war with Iran. This decision was made without proper authorization with Congress. The power to declare war belongs to Congress, not to any president. A president should not be able to drag a country into a war into the Middle East without proper accountability. So far, this conflict has already cost the American people $6 billion. All of these funds could have been for cost of living, investment in housing, infrastructure, all of that good stuff that we really want, but we're being dragged into something that we do not want to be dragged into. That's why today, Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez voted yes on a war powers resolution to end Trump's illegal war in Iran. Unfortunately, this resolution did not pass today, but that's just a quick update. And something super quickly that we have going on, we have a STEAM fair coming up in the very near future. It was supposed to be in 2 weeks, but we are having some difficulties with securing a specific spot. It will be at CUNY Law, but their scheduling's all mixed up. But I do have some flyers here. It's for, STEAM, science, technology, education, engineering and mathematics. And we also are going to be announcing the Congressional App Challenge winner. The Congresswoman will be there herself announcing these winners and just having a good time, really coming together in community, trying to give resources to middle school and high school students. So please RSVP here, although we do not have a date set. I will be emailing everyone personally who RSVPs for the date. And I also have some newsletter updates here too. If everything I said, it'll be on paper. Okay? Yes.
Thank you for the Congresswoman's vote today. Okay, Kristi Noem, fired, yay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was supposed to say that, fired. I understand that when the new person, who doesn't seem to know he's the new person, is appointed, it's only the Senate that confirms him, it's not the House. Is that true?
That's something I would have to clarify. I'm not too sure, especially with everything how that's been going with like rules and whatnot. A lot of rules have been overstepped. So that's something that I don't want to say yes or no to. I would have to clarify.
So I would just say I think it is the situation, but if it's not, and I don't think I actually have to say this out loud, I would like very much if the Congresswoman gives the new appointee a very hard time.
Of course. I feel like she's going to do that regardless of any requests, but
Thank you.
I'll relay the message for sure. Okay. Thank you so much.
Kristen Gonzalez's office. And then Jamie, and then Farah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Karen. I'm the District Director for State Senator Kristen Gonzalez. Sorry for the confusion earlier. I'd like to start off by introducing a new member of our team, Isamar Brito. She is a new community liaison who just joined our office this week. She'll be joining Queens for our office. For office updates, the Senator recently attended Arts Day to advocate for more funding for arts in her district and in New York State. Arts funding has been a priority for her in this budget, and she's been over $4 million in arts funding for Senate District 59. Last month, the Senator convened an homelessness roundtable, bringing together advocates, organizers, community stakeholders, and elected officials to discuss challenges related to rising homelessness in LIC, to discuss of government and on-the-ground rapid response. Last month, the Senator also led 73 New York legislators in sending a letter demanding NYU Langone reverse their discontinuation of their youth gender-affirming care program. Their decision to capitulate to the Trump administration puts young people in need of life-saving care at risk. She's committed to continue fighting for our trans neighbors, defending their right to gender-affirming care, and pushing the state to fund this health care. Finally, like I mentioned last month, our office is holding a Know Your Rights training specifically for clergy in Queens. We're partnering with Hands Off NYC and the Interfaith Center. It will be held in Astoria next Friday on March 13th. If you or you know any clergy who'd like to register, they can email me for the link, or I've left some flyers in the back over there. And Danielle, we heard you last time. We're working on something for small businesses in Queens. I hope to have more information for you guys next time. Any questions?
The New York for All Act, I don't know why I cannot. Do we think that's going to move forward in the budget or separately?
That I'm not sure, and I can get back to you, but as you know, she definitely supports that, yeah.
And I can just ask her, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Within the 2 minutes, Jamie, yeah.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Almost said Tuesday again. But my name is Jamie. I'm from Assemblymember Raga's office, and I have a couple of updates. So we've been pretty busy. We collaborated with Councilmember Julie Wan and other partners in the district to do a huge Know Your Rights event at PS 361. So thank you to those who came out. We also partnered with Councilmember Shaker Krishnan in hosting a Lunar New Year event, which is really great at Moore Homestead Park. We also are continuing to have our free tax clinic. So if you need to get your taxes done and don't want to wait to the very last minute like me, make sure to call our office at 718-651-3185. We also do have an upcoming event this Saturday. So if you are thinking of starting a small nonprofit, or you know someone who has a small nonprofit, it would be a really great workshop at our district office, 60-10 Queens Boulevard, in the lower level. Pretty much we're going to be partnering with Astoria Worker Project, QEDC, and a couple other partners to pretty much break down how to file for a nonprofit, right? Like how to get state funding, how to get city funding. So if you're just curious, feel free to come, but feel free to also share that. As always, we are always helping constituents, even if you have immigration issues, or if you need to have access to a lawyer for free legal counsel, especially if you are facing eviction. So please let any neighbors know. We also continue to have our monthly mobile office hours. And as we are still in budget season, AM Raga is still pushing for an affordable housing package, for taxing the rich, for making sure New York for All is included, and making sure that SCRI and DRE are increased from $50,000 to $75K, because we know that is instrumental to keep up with inflation and help our seniors and those disabled. Are there any questions? Yes.
Oh, could you repeat where and when that not-for-profit training is?
Yes, it'll be, let me triple confirm the timing. But it's at our district office, so 60-10 Queens Boulevard. It's at the Big Six. If you see the Big Six Pharmacy, you just go down in the lower level.
And when?
Let me triple confirm. I have 1 to 5 p.m., but I don't want you showing up too early. It's going to be on Saturday. This Saturday? Yes, this Saturday. Any other questions?
Is it posted on the website?
on his Instagram, and we also send newsletter blasts, and I can make sure we send a reminder to everyone on there.
Riley?
Thank you. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you. The Assembly member had introduced an automated parking enforcement bill last year. Is that currently being discussed?
Yes, that was one of his budget priorities, so we partnered up with Open Plans, and also Senator Julia Salazar is the Senate sponsor, so she also submitted it. We asked for $35 million for the payment and authorization for the cameras to be in the city, so it'd be really helpful if y'all could send emails, calls to leadership, and making sure it's in the one house and also the Senate's budget proposal. Hopefully it's in at least one of them, and then we can really push the governor and the other chamber to make sure it's authorized. If it's not in the budget, we are planning to push it to at least have the state give authorization to DOT so that we can have this program in the city. For those who are unfamiliar, this automated curb enforcement bill will make sure that we are keeping our streets safe, not only for pedestrians, but for drivers, making sure our ambulances have clear lanes. It's going to reduce double parking, make sure that cars are not blocking fire hydrants. We had a lot of calls actually about this being an issue, so we want to make sure that we get this passed so we're able to have safer streets for everyone.
Great, thank you. Good to hear.
John? Wait for the mic. Wait for the mic.
Thank you. Thank you, sorry, yes. We originally were gonna have it at our DO, but we wanted, thank you, John, to be more, it's gonna be at Allenhurst Hospital this Saturday. Thank you.
Maury, last question.
Hi, sorry I'm not online, I'm not feeling well. I'm not visible. I just wanted to, regarding the blocking the intersections, I just want to put it on everybody's radar and ask the Assembly member to remember to think about ways that we can draft the bill or adjust the bill so that we're taking into consideration facial recognition and biometric recognition.
Yes, thank you, Maury, for bringing that up. We partnered with STOP, which is a huge nonprofit advocacy group that is against facial recognition, and we partnered with them to amend the bill text to make sure that our any data is not stored permanently, and to make sure we're not using any facial recognition, because the Assembly member is big on that, right? We want to make sure we're protecting our neighbors, especially those undocumented, and not having this weaponized by the state or the federal government. So thank you, Maury, for that.
Hi. I wanted to ask about this Assembly member's position. I know he support the Intelligent Speed Assistance, the super speeders bill.
Yes.
And it's very important to get this in with the budget, and so it's a very relevant thing right now. And perhaps could he also talk to other electeds in our general community to urge them to sign on to the bill? I know he's a sponsor.
Yes.
But there are others that need some encouragement, and we know he's so powerful.
Yeah.
And influential.
Yeah, 1,000%. Let me get some of the names
Thank you.
right after to make sure that I can bring it back to him. But
Thank you very
definitely,
much.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, Jamie. Farah?
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, for those who are celebrating, Ramadan Mubarak, happy Ramadan, and then happy Holi to everybody who's celebrating. And happy St. Patrick's Day for later in the month. So just going to try to go through this quickly. Participatory budgeting is back. We're going to have Vote Week, April 11th to 19th this year. We have 10 projects that folks can vote on, ranging from school upgrades at a variety of different schools, to upgrades to the local fire engines, to community garden infrastructure projects. You can vote online or in person at any of our multiple pop-up locations and drop-in sites, which will be at the Queens Public Library, at pickup during the pickups at schools, as well as Woodside on the Move, Sunnyside Community Services, and a variety of other locations. And those will be posted online and on Link NYC. Last week, we began our Ramadan food distributions at the Sunnyside Woodside Mosque, and will continue at the Sunnyside Muslim Center, Woodside Baitul Jannah Mosque, and A.R. Rahman Mosque in Sunnyside. We have next week a DOB clinic on March 10th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you have any issues with certifications, permits, enforcement actions, violations, if somebody is doing construction at 6 a.m. and they're not supposed to, please come make an appointment with our office. You'll get to speak with someone at the DOB who will be able to take care of this. On March 11th, along with Woodside on the Move, we will be hosting a Watts Energy Efficiency Workshop from 6 to 8 p.m. Come to learn more about energy efficiency. This is in partnership with NYPA. On March 14th, we are alongside with LIC Fears hosting a pet adoption event. So if you would like to adopt a come to Day, and you'll be able to look at all the kitties and cats and see if you want one. Women's History Month, we are doing it's going to be a lunch. It will be from 12 to 2 p.m. at LaGuardia Community College's Wagner's Archives. And then some bigger news with Sunnyside Yards. As you know, the mayor proposed a plan, but Councilmember One, she is not against the plan, but is calling for the city to undergo the appropriate land use processes so that we can have community engagement. And then we are still working on getting the Community Oversight Committee up and running. Stay tuned for the kickoff date and more information to come. And, if anyone has any questions, I'm here.
Hi, I question about the bill that is being proposed at the City Council that, prohibits protests around houses of worship, and also places of medical need. Totally support that when they're being used for their intended purpose. So I just wanted to bring it up and ask the council. The facility are actually illegal. Are they then protected from protests outside? So let's just say hypothetically, maybe somebody's selling stolen land inside of a place of worship, and there are protests outside. Should that be protected?
I know with the specificities of the bill, our team is still looking into it. We're asking the questions to the bill drafters. And, that won't change until we get more information, and that might not change. And so we can get more information for you. And I'll have her give us more information, so that way next month when I come, I'll have a more fleshed out answer. But as of right now, I do know that she is not signed on to the bill. You're welcome. Okay, go.
Thanks, Farah. Laura. Okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here on behalf of Queensborough President Donovan Richards. We have a busy march at Borough Hall with several Holly celebration at Borough Hall. March 11th at 6:30 p.m. We're hosting our monthly Parent Advisory Board meeting. This month is part 2 of our Community Mental Health Lab series, in which we'll be acknowledging Teen Violence Awareness Month and featuring a high school student panel to discuss youth empowerment and healing. On Wednesday, at 5:30 p.m., we'll be hosting our annual Black History Month celebration. This will be at Queensborough Hall. And to wrap up the last week of March, we have 2 events also. On Monday, March 23rd at 6 p.m., we have our celebration. Wednesday, March 25th p.m., our annual Eid celebration. It's a busy March, so we hope you can join us for any of these events. questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to our office. You may call our office at 718-286-3000, or you may email me, Laura Shepard, directly at lshepard@queensbp.com. Yep.
Narissa.
Hello, everybody. My name is Narissa Martinez, and I'm a community coordinator at Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz's office. So great to see you all again. Just have a few quick updates for you here. Family of Zoraida Leo, a property owner who was killed by her tenant in December of 2023. Miss Leo to death in her home, was just sentenced to 22.5 years in prison. The defendant, 21-year-old Davi Vidal, was having a dispute with Miss Leo, his landlady, over back rent. The victim, 55 years old, told a witness in the case that she was planning on talking to Vidal about the money that he owed. The defendant lives in the attic of the woman's East Elmhurst home. On December 4th, 2023, she asked Vidal to come downstairs to her home, and the two argued about the back rent. Vidal strangled Miss Leo to death with his hands and a cord from an iron. The defendant pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the first degree. We cannot case. Quinones, 36 of Woodside, was arraigned and held on a $150,000 cash bail. Queens Criminal Court Judge Lana Schileslinger ordered the defendant to return to court on March 6th. If convicted, Quinones faces up to 25 years in prison. I also have some newsletters and then a hotline card from our office that has all of our departments on there. If you ever needed any assistance, you could reach us directly at those numbers. Like I said, they're in the first row here of the board members, but I have some extras too, if anybody would like them. But that's all for me today.
One question, please. Could you, if you have any insight, explain the reasoning behind charging Jabez Chakraborty, please?
Yeah, so unfortunately, right now, I'm not able to comment on, as it is still an open case. I do know that the NYPD has currently charged him, and I haven't heard any update on his physical state at this point. So I can definitely come back and give you an update on that.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, now Siobhan from Sanctuary Community Services.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Siobhan Boa, representing Sunnyside Community Services. So I wanted to just share a few upcoming events that are available for community registration. We're starting our English as a Second Language classes, and registration is now open. Classes run from April 20th through June 24th here at Sunnyside Community Services. We're also inviting folks to apply for summer jobs. If you're 16 or older, we're accepting applications. It is a 6-week job placement. We pay up to $17 an hour, and you can work here for up to 25 hours a week. And finally, I also wanted to welcome everyone to join us here at our center on March 7th from 10 to 2 p.m. We're going to have our Family Education Resource Fair. You can come to learn about our ESL classes, our immigration helpline, our home health aid training, and so much more. There'll be prizes and raffles for family and kids. I also wanted to share we had a great time at the St. Pat's for All Parade. We had about 25 staff and participants join. And I also wanted to acknowledge March is Social Work Month. So if you know a social worker, please give them a kudos and an acknowledgement for all the care that they provide to our community. So thank you.
Thank Thank you, Siobhan. Marco, yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Marco Woodside on the Move. Right here on Queens Boulevard, we do local community events, and I'm going to tell you about some of them here. First and foremost, on March 11th, in partnership with New York Power Authority, we have the opportunity to bring the community members to learn how to be more understanding and more energy efficient. Attending that workshop will get you a energy kit and a workshop that will be held at our main office right here. Next, coming up, we have a food pantry at PS 361 Woodside Community School on Saturday, March 28th from 1 to 3. It will be first come, first serve. We had one very recently in January. We recommend bringing a shopping cart or a bag with you, as they will not be provided. I know there's a tax prep going around. We also have a free tax prep partnership with Growing Brooklyn, starting from March 12th to April 1 to 5 p.m. Appointments are required, and you can email, call in order to make an appointment. In order to qualify with dependents and is filing for themselves. Profits, government agencies, and a whole bunch of people willing to hire all sorts of employees from all sorts of walks of life. In addition to this, we will also be providing community members with housing services, benefit, immigration consultation, and other services. And if nobody has any questions, that's all I have to say. The flyer is on your tables. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. And that concludes representatives of elected officials and our, sorry? Oh, yes, please. Oh, okay. Yeah, come on up.
Hey everyone, my name is Erica Landau. I'm here representing Assemblymember Claire Valdez's office. As you know, we've been undergoing a bit of a transition, and I am her new chief of staff. So just want to introduce myself. Just some office updates. We're having tax prep every Tuesday. We are also partnering with Urban Upbound. We had our first tax prep session on this past Tuesday, and we'll be having one every Tuesday from now until April 15th. This past Sunday, the Assemblymember joined Climate Families NYC to support the Sunny Act, which would make plug-in solar simple and accessible.
I'll just go, I brought it up before with the assembly member, senators, everything, is right now, Con Ed provides discounts to people with certain economic situations or people who are veterans on disability, but they do not provide those same discounts to people who are just on disability. So if a person is living on disability, $2,000 a month, they need to have oxygen, so they're on life-supporting equipment, they get no discount. And
Any other questions?
Okay. Hey, thank you so much. Now we'll move on to comments from general public comment. Please keep it to 2 minutes each, starting with Barry.
Thank you very much. My name is Barry. Interested in these transportation issues we have. I'd like to talk about the roadway congestion and solutions for that. The new apartments that are being built are going to create a lot of new cars. 850 cars per 1,000 is the average, and at half that rate, you're talking about 50,000 more cars could hit our streets. And if the city builds another 200,000 new apartments, we're talking about over 120,000 cars in the city that weren't here before. And the other issue, autonomous cars, robotaxi, they're cheaper than regular cars. It doesn't cost the manufacturer much. And they'll be undercutting prices that are already out there for taxis. And it could be a real boom in this, and it could add a great deal of traffic and congestion to our streets. They'll probably be on the road 20 hours a day, and then they could get charged for 2 hours and service for the other 2. So they could be on the roads all the time, not like regular cars. Now, as far as solution goes, I think bus rapid transit will get people out of their cars. They could leave their cars at home, and we could start moving more people in less vehicles. The other concept would be a regional rail operation. And if we build Sunnyside Station, we could run from Newark to Kennedy, a single line that could go through Penn, Sunnyside, LaGuardia, Jamaica, and Kennedy. And this could be the main attraction for people traveling from the suburbs on the regional trains and transfer at transfer at Penn Station and Sunnyside Station. So a skip-stop operation would be added to reduce demand. Thank you.
More? Yep. And then Ken Engel.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, board members and the public. My name is Raphael. I'm a New York City Community Board District Manager. I'm here speaking to you in an individual capacity. I want to bring your attention a letter issued by 54 New York City Community Board District Managers to the Queens Chronicle about the termination of Deborah Markell Kleinert from Community Board 2. Details of the termination disturbed about Deborah's claim that charges against her were we were also quite disturbed about the chair's own admission that there were 2 performance reviews conducted for an employee of 18 years. This, to the outside public, does not provide the impression that the board did its due diligence in correcting whatever issue. Questions about ageism in the termination of your district manager. And you all just notice provided by this board regarding the special meeting where Deborah Markell Kleinert was terminated. Just at Long Island City Library, the Queens Chronicle reports that it was conducted at a cafe. The meeting minutes mysteriously the location. I just wanted to explain to you all that if you hold a meeting that isn't publicly noticed, it's not a community board meeting. It is a private meeting of individuals. You don't have the right to discuss public business at a private meeting and call it a community board meeting. You definitely don't have the right to terminate a New York City employee of 18 years at a privately, illegally run meeting. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, Ken Engel.
Good evening, everybody, and I'll be very brief. We are Cricket Wireless. We are a division of AT&T, and we've just come into the Queens community, and we're going to be, fortunately, hopefully, become much more present. Wireless is a unique division of AT&T where it's affordable rate plans and cell phone service that we provide. Unfortunately, the current government regime have unfortunately canceled or taken away a number of the programs, but very, I guess, beneficial for people that are struggling. And so really what I wanted to do here tonight, and anybody's card I can get, we want to really affiliate with the local communities, get involved with different associations that you have, potentially sponsor, or potentially to actually work at some of the events that you may have during the course of the year. So that's all I wanted to say. It opened up at 55th and Roosevelt Avenue with the intentions of another number of additional stores to really help the local community. So thank you. I want to say.
And unless there's anyone else, Jordan Rosenthal, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, sorry, my video isn't working, so just audio. Hi, I'm Jordan Rosenthal. I live in Long Island City, and I just wanted to say kind of my personal outrage at the Queens District Attorney charging Jabez Chakraborty, who was clearly having a mental health crisis, and the police were not requested. It was a medical transport request, and the fact is that the police presence escalated the situation, which led to him picking up the knife. And I think that if we had a full non-police mental health crisis response system like Be Heard, which does operate in the 108 precinct, Jabez wouldn't be traumatized from being shot and now being charged for assault charges. So I just really wanted to put that out there and kind of, express my deep frustration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And we have a couple people online. Sabine. Was that you, Sabine? Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sabine. I have lived in New York City for 14 years, and of those, my husband and I have lived in Sunnyside for 3 months. 2 weeks ago, on February 16th, I was walking my dog, Nilu, a 9-pound Italian Greyhound, on 4th Avenue, when a man handling 2 Cane Corso dogs lost control of the dogs. The dogs lunged at me and my dog. My hand was bitten, and the dogs would not let go of Nilu. When they were finally wrestled off, I rushed to the animal hospital in an Uber. Nilu bleed into my lap and lose consciousness. Over the next 12 hours, he would go emergency surgery and stay overnight at the hospital. The next day, the vets told us that Nilu's internal bleeding had not stopped and there were no other options. We put him down. Since the attack, I have found no means of accountability. No lawyers will help me since I'm not injured enough. For the case to be worth their time, under the law, my dog is considered property. Therefore, the only avenue of accountability I have is small claims court, which would not cover our bills or lost income from the attack. The owner of the dogs has not provided me with their information to move forward either. Only Julie and Farah have been helpful in setting up meetings with us, with the handler of the dogs, as well as trying to help us find alternative means. Anyone who has pets knows that they are not just property, they are family. Accountability and safer streets. A law like Penny's Law would create criminal penalties for negligent dog handling and allow for more means of accountability for someone like myself and others who suffer similar attacks in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabine. Radzak? Nope? Okay. And John Zach. John Zach, are you here? All right, I think that concludes the public comment portion of the meeting as well. And that brings us to attendance. Oh, no, sorry, DCP. Hey, Karen, oh, sorry. Hi.
Hi, everybody, and Colin Ryan from DCP and the Western Queens team lead, filling in for Fagala today. Just a few updates for you all. Firstly, 2131 46th Avenue rezoning was just certified as complete, and a notice will be coming out shortly to the board, and that referral period will be starting. Next, we Mayor Ramdani appointed a new and leader for DCP. Sadea Sherman. She'll be starting also this month, so we're really excited to get some leadership coming into our office under this new administration. And yeah, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And next we have our presentation for the ULURP. Populated about the Queens Walk to Parks.
Hey, I'm going to introduce this really quick before Parks takes the mic. So this is an application that's looking for approval for a 10-year walk to a park acquisition strategy that's going to allow the city to purchase potential park sites in our district from willing sellers without requiring a separate ULURP for each property. So this is really exciting for us to see. Basically what they're saying is rather than improving specific parks, this proposal is going to authorize a batch acquisition framework so the city can negotiate for any eligible vacant or underbuilt lots over time to help close these gaps in park access in our area. So we had an initial land use and parks joint committee presentation last month. Today's our public hearing and an agency presentation from Parks. We're going to have a follow-up meeting on March 18th with the land use and the parks committees. And then our full board vote on this ULURP is going to be at our next board meeting on April 2nd. We're not voting today. Let's listen, ask questions. If you have any fun, let me know for us to ask in our committee. All right, Mike's all yours.
Thank you, community board members and members of the public who are joining this evening. My name is Colleen Alderson. I'm the Chief of Parklands and Real Estate for New York City Parks, and I'm joined by Jules Dowling, a planner for New York City Parks. We're both part of the Environment and Planning Division, and we're happy to walk through a ULURP application certified by the City Planning Commission on February 2nd. Required review period. So we're going to walk through how public parkland in Community District 2.
Yeah, sorry, just need a moment to get our screen share on. Just 1 second. Thank you. Okay. Hi, good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to get right into the ULURP explanation. So just this first quick slide is on the ULURP actions. New York City Parks and the Department of Citywide Administrative Services. And we're seeking approval for acquisition and site selection of certain sites to enable opportunities for additional parks in the district. The red areas on this map indicate walk to a park gap areas. And currently, 84.2% of New Yorkers live in a served area, and we're trying to increase that percentage with this project. The city has a goal of 10% of New Yorkers within a quick to a park by 2030, and we're close. We still have million New Yorkers that are living within gap areas, so they don't have a quick walk to a park near them. And the goal of this, again, is to authorize approvals for many sites to increase to acquisition served areas. So this is just a quick project location slide. I think we all know we're in Community Board 2. And just a quick explanation of why parks matter. We're all aware that parks are critical infrastructure in urban areas, and just beyond places to rest and recreate, parks provide a necessary space for social connection, respite for residents, environmental benefits like cleaner air, and improves resilience to climate-related disasters. And on top of all that, physical health and mental health are also benefited by parks. And these factors informed Parks' pursuing of a new strategy to realize new parks in underserved communities. So we've undertaken initiatives and efforts for expanding access to parks and in underserved areas of the city. So just a couple of the different initiatives we have. We have partnerships with the Department of Education, which is where we try to open up schoolyards so that they're open to the public outside of school hours. And then we also partner with NYCHA, and we help to create new public access on campuses, targeting underserved areas while also improving spaces for NYCHA residents. And despite all these initiatives, we still have challenges to expand park access and the extent of New Yorkers within walking distance to a park, and we still face hurdles in creating public open space. So a little bit more about those challenges. One of the most significant challenges we face is the length of the ULURP process, which can take about 2 to 3 years from the onset of identifying potential properties for park development to the actual closing of a contract of acquiring property from a seller. And acquiring property to transform into a public park is typically an arduous process in light of the dearth of property available and the time it takes to work through the required land use review process. There's also limited vacant land available. And also, property owners are not aware of the fact that the city is interested in and serious about acquiring land for parks. And on all of this, our inability to negotiate with property owners before the ULURP is also a challenge. And most sellers are not willing to wait for the process to really unfold. They want to sell things sooner than what we're able to do. So that is why we're trying to use this new approach, where we are trying to gain approval in a process to realize where new parks and opportunities may exist in underserved areas. And we've developed this process in close coordination with DCP to overcome some of these challenges. So the neighborhood scale ULURP was prompted by the Get Stuff Built initiative in 2022. And the project aims to provide the required acquisition land use approval for a number of pre-identified sites that are suitable for parkland development. And it enables us to enter directly into negotiations with willing sellers, which will shorten the acquisition process. So basically, we get this pre-approval, and then down the line, if a property owner is willing to sell, it puts us in a better position to be able to actually move on that and acquire the property. So this is just the same map. Like I said before, our goal is to get to 85% of New Yorkers living within a walking distance to a park. And one of the goals of this project is to try to use some of the sites we acquire to get more people within this walking distance to a park. And then this is just a quick explanation of why we identified Queens Community Board 2 as one of the 19 districts that we're targeting for this initiative. So we used a combination of different data points. We noticed that there's a significant population since 2020, and there's an expectation of the population to continue growing. And it also has a pretty low open space ratio, which is the number of acres of open space per 1,000 residents. So the current open space ratio is 0.38 acres per 1,000 residents, which compared to other districts in the city is relatively pretty low. And then just a little bit of an explanation about our methodology. So we developed a criteria to identify potential sites for parkland development. And in developing that criteria, we decided on 2 buckets of sites. One of those buckets is primary sites, and primary sites have to be vacant, at least 5,000 square feet. And this also includes smaller lots that are owned by the same owner and adjacent and can be thought of as like an assemblage. So smaller lots together, if they add up to 5,000 square feet, would also be eligible. And then also the Parks Department has to have visited each of these sites. And the last criteria is that there must be no approved DOB permits indicating development on the site at the time that we're looking to acquire it. And then the other bucket of sites, criteria for sites, is for our secondary sites. And the main difference between primary and secondary sites is that secondary sites are not vacant land, but they have a land use code of, and I'm just going to list off the land use codes, commercial and office buildings, industrial and manufacturing, transportation and utility, public facilities and institutions, open space and outdoor recreation, and also parking facilities. So sites with these land use codes are hypothetically eligible if they are also built to less than 50% of their maximum allowable floor area ratio. And these sites to be eligible, must also be within a walk to a park, must also address a walk to a park gap area. So, we would have, if we made a park in one of the secondary sites, it would mean that it would add more people to the number of people that are within a walking distance to a park. And on top of all of those criteria, the last one is that any building that was constructed or improved prior to 2011 makes the site ineligible. And the thought behind this was that we didn't want, we thought that recent investment would make these sites pretty, unlikely candidates or unlikely for the property owner to be willing to sell. And just a couple quick notes. The secondary sites do not include lots with residential uses. And again, similar to the primary sites, they have to meet that 5,000 square foot minimum criteria. And then just a quick note about the sunset clause. So the neighborhood ULURP is subject to a sunset clause that limits its acquisition authority after 10 years from its approval date or until the walk to a park gap areas are filled. And this just means that after these 10 years, we would have to do another ULURP in order to acquire any of these sites. And these are just a couple of three or so examples of design options. So these indicate types of programming that could be possible on a given site. They're not prescriptive, but they're just here to provide a sense of what kind of programming could fit on the sites of different sizes. So should a site move forward, we would carry out our typical public design input process through our capital division, working with our borough office. And all sites would also need to, account for ADA requirements. And then also site remediation would also be accounted for as part of this capital project. So this is just a map of our primary sites. We have 7 primary sites. A lot of them are clustered in the Long Island City area, and then some in the western portion of the community board. And then this is just a map of our secondary sites. There are 30 secondary sites. And then in this map, we've also circled, we've highlighted 12 sites that were added more recently in the process. These sites we added in response to some community board input. So we had heard that the community board had wanted to see more sites in the northwest portion of the community district. So we tried to add more sites in response to that. And this is also just a quick note that in response to some of the feedback from the community board, we retained many of the sites that were located in the Long Island City Industrial Business Zone. We had been previously considering removing these sites, but we heard that, including them people just wanted to keep the opportunity to keep these sites in the event that any of the sites change from their industrial use. And then just a quick note, we had also been looking at 5802 Northern Boulevard as a site. We really wanted to include this in our project, but because there was a BSA variance approved for the site, which made it ineligible for this ULURP. And then I'm just going to pass it off back to Colleen for an explanation of our next steps. Thank you.
This is our last slide, but just for those, what happens next, as this is a ULURP application, following the community board's review, we'll then go to the Queensborough President's Office, then the City Planning Commission and New York City Council. And just a note that as this is a site selection and acquisition action, if there is an acquisition that moves forward, we would follow through on the required fair share criteria analysis that's done and notification and feedback. Just just a reminder on this that for any of the sites, should they move forward, we would host through our, as Jewel said, community input process to get feedback from community members. What kind of park features are you looking for here? What kind of program needs are you looking to place in this site? And then again, the acquisition authority, should the application be approved, it will happen 10 years after approval, or should all the gap areas be filled in the district? So that's our slides that we have for you.
Elena, and then Sheila. No, leave it on.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. So we're super excited to see this. Parks access is one of our top priorities as a district, and we all know how badly we need more park space, and this is one of the few things I've seen that is going to get us that. So I'm hopeful that we're all hugely supportive of this. One thing I would want to point out is for the council member, is that this is very dependent on funding, and we would love to see this be a funding priority and have money invested in actually buying these parcels now that it's going to be possible soon, as well as all of the other wonderful things that Parks does.
Thanks. One question, 2 questions. One is the ULURP, the clock on the sunset, this is 10 years, but it could take you 5 years to identify a site, and then so is it 10 years once a site is identified, or just 10 years in general?
It's 10 years in total, so
Okay.
we would need to identify sites and be far along that we are at the contract stage for that acquisition to happen.
Yep.
So assuming if the application is approved this year, we would have 10 years to identify property owners, see if they're interested, sometimes the property owner may not be interested in selling today, but things change.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I
you
was
know,
just curious on the
yeah,
timing on
yeah,
that.
10 years from the
Okay.
approval.
And then my other question, and I shared this with the Chair of Land Use just a moment ago, I noticed one of the properties in your presentation is a property that had been promised to be developed by a developer who got 19 variances on their building. It was supposed to be graduate and faculty housing. And so my question goes to what will that developer's responsibility be in helping us to turn it into a community facility since they're getting off the hook on what they were supposed to be doing?
I would have to probably work with colleagues at the Department of City Planning to understand the background on that one, and to be able to respond to that. So we can certainly look into that, and then at the committee meetings that are happening, can follow up on that one. Yeah. Yeah, sounds like it.
Lisa, then Danielle.
I just want to underscore that if we were going to vote on this, I would recommend a stipulation. I don't think that 10 years is long enough. And I think that you indicated at the land use meeting that it was sunset with no renewal. I mean, I've seen parks project in this community that were green lighted, and they've taken 10 years. So identifying and going through acquisition, et cetera, is just going to be that. So anyway, that's my suggestion.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify one thing. The 10 years is just on the acquisition. It doesn't place a restriction on the development, but I shall say our intention is after acquisition is done, we want to be able to follow through on a capital improvement project. So it's not just fenced off. So the 10 years is specific to the acquisition step. So sorry if that wasn't clear.
Danielle.
Yeah, it's less of a question, but to the funding comment, we talked in the committee meeting about it's not just the city. We should be looking for funding from the state as well, and at some point, the federal government, but maybe not right now. So that's for every elected here. Online?
Yeah, so I'm super in support of this idea. I think it's a really great idea to, open up ways to get parks in our district. I mean, I live in Sunnyside. There's basically no vacant lots anywhere in Sunnyside, but we have no parks. So I really appreciate the creativity. One question about the process. So, let's say this ULURP is approved and goes into effect. Do all of the targeted site landowners get notified? And then for the acquisition, does that start with outreach from the city, or are you then waiting for a landowner to say, hey, I'm interested in potentially selling?
Well, we've walked through 2 applications last year, working with city planning, and that were before the City Planning Commission, and we've laid out a protocol. There's a desire by the City Planning Commission that we first do outreach to the vacant sites and then turn to the secondary. But we have obligations to reach out to property owners. It's in our interest. We want to create new parks for the community, to reach out and look for those available property owners. So it's on us to reach out to property owners. We use, and there's also even a protocol, if we don't hear from property owners, reaching out to the community board, elected officials, to see if they have other contact information. So there's a strategy that we need to keep up the communication, look for those interested property owners. It's on us to do that outreach. The Parks Department.
Maury?
Can you hear me? Oh, good. So first of all, I just want to thank you for this presentation. I was at the presentations you had with the committee. I'm really grateful for it. And to echo Corey, the creativity and really trying to find out solutions for this community that is so void of green space. It's so important. This is just a presentation remark that I felt I had to make. I don't speak for all 300 million people with color vision impairments, but I do want to make There are 300 million of us globally, but obviously you're not speaking to a global audience, but when you take into consideration aging eyes, other issues with people's eyes that may not be with color, but all the other issues that make it, there's a lot of people get affected and aren't able to tell. And I bring this up at a lot of meetings because everyone's doing it. And it's kind of so important for accessibility for people who can't see red or green or other colors, that on the keys and the charts, that we don't rely on color alone to convey information. Color is a great ancillary way to convey information, but if you can use numbers or letters or patterns to show the differences, I would be grateful, and I think a lot of others would be as well, especially with screens too today. Thank you. And thank you for all your hard work.
Anyone else? All right, I think you're off the hook.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, please, you leave it. I think we had one member of the public signed up for comment about this issue. So, John Zach, if you're still around, you have 2 minutes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening. My name is John Zach, and I'm speaking on behalf of the ownership of 5320 46th Street, which was one of the locations. We got a letter. Here regarding the proposed site selection that includes this parcel, I'd like to clarify for the record that this property is not vacant or unused. It has been used by our family and our business since at least the 1960s and continues to serve an active industrial purpose today. The site is used for the storage of gas cylinders and for vehicle parking. It directly supports approximately 9 to 10 employees and is an essential part of our daily logistics and safety operations. Relocating this type of use would be difficult. Suitable outdoor industrial storage sites that meet zoning and safety requirements are limited, and displacement would disrupt our operations and the employees who depend on this facility. For these reasons, we do not support the inclusion of this property for future acquisition and respectfully request that its longstanding continuous industrial use be given careful consideration during this review. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard.
Thank you, John. We also have Zach McHugh. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me. This is a great meeting, great presentation. I apologize, I'm a little bit sick, so I might give you a couple of coughs. But we own one of the properties on your list. I think it's circled as number 29. That property was recently transitioned to what I would call an enterprise level EV charging lot. And I would say tens of millions of dollars have been invested to electrify that site. I wouldn't want the Parks Department wasting a bullet, given that you've got a 10-year sort of horizon here on this property, given that it's going to be used for the foreseeable future. And that's really all I had to say.
Great. Thank you, Zach. And I think that's everyone signed up for public comment for this topic. So we will move on to attendance.
All right, thank you, Chair. Amparo Abel-Bey. Nelly Afshar. Anatol Ashraf. John Bahia. Carisha Batan. Excused, yep. Nick Berkowitz. Absent. Danielle Brecker. Carlos Castel-Croak. Evelyn Chango is excused. Lisa Charles. Can you let her unmute? Yeah. Sorry, Lisa, if you're unmuted now, can you just say present? All right, we'll come back to Lisa. Tanya Chavez. Osman Chowdhury. Excused. All right, thanks. Steve Cooper. Excused. Warren Davis.
Present online.
All right, thank you so much. Lisa Deller. Yeah. Maury Gallinoy.
Present online.
Okay, thanks, Maury. Dr. Raz Janutzos. Alexandra Gonzalez.
Present online.
All right, thank you. Camille Gray is excused. Kenny Greenberg.
Here online.
All right, thanks. Corey Hannigan.
Present online.
Okay, thanks. Mohammed Hossein. Absent. Okay. Christine Hunter.
Present online.
Okay. James Kim, I believe excused. Prameet Kumar. Chimang Lama. Okay, absent. Bradford Laban.
Present
Absent.
online.
Oh, present online. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks. Sheila Lewandowski. Benjamin Lucas is excused. Patrick Martinez is excused. Eric Narberg. Andy Olivares. Absent. Riley Owens. Okay. Jolly Patel. Randy Plummo.
Present online.
Pia Raman. Maya Saab. Excused. Okay, thanks. Noberto Sedana. Nope, absent. Alyssa Sawicki.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Fajelson Sherpa. Absent. Ryan Smith, I am here. Lauren Springer. Okay. Akello Thomas. Nope, absent. Amaris Valdez. Excused. Elena Van Sluten. Leticia Vasquez. And Michael Zurab. All right. And Lisa Charles coming back to you. Can you just say present?
Present.
All right, thank you so much. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We have 22. A quorum would be 24.
Okay. So that's the first in a long time. We don't have quorum. We can't vote on the bylaws today. Yeah, just a lot of people got knocked out today. Well, and, I appreciate everyone's. Oh. Yeah, we can't. Yeah. Sure. Right. Yeah, we need 24 in the room. And there are folks whose presence online counts for in the room, but yeah, so that's counting them. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why not. The new member. Oh, wait, Mike, sorry, wait for that. You need the mic. Hey, this is procedural stuff. We should. It's important.
I'm just saying that if we want it, because I know there was a real push, and just to say, part of the bylaws work was to get it done in time for the new board members who are coming in. And so I was just suggesting looking into an email vote. But I think to do that, I'm pretty sure you need 100% participation. I'm happy to look into that tomorrow, if that's.
two people can make it in. Two board members who are online. If you can make it in here in the next 30 minutes, I feel like we can get some work done. But if not, we will.
I'll look into the possibility of doing it electronically,
Yeah.
or we can call a special meeting. It'll last
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll have to, because we really worked hard to
Yeah.
try to get the bylaws done before the new members come, because that's the last thing you want new members to do. You just got here and.
And ask
now
them
you
to
have
vote on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if two board members can get here in the next 30 minutes, that would be fantastic. And I think we should still review the bylaws too today. All right, so I think that brings us to, we'll skip ahead to the, so I think we can post the meeting minutes with pending approval online, and then we can, or pending a full vote. All right, so I will jump ahead for now to the chair's report. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone observing Ramadan. Happy Holi to those celebrating Holi, and please come to the event here at SCS tomorrow. Meaningful Lent to those observing Lent, and happy St. Pat's for all season. As a Sunnysider, I can say that. I'd like to thank Debbie Markel Kleinert for 20 years of service to Community Board 2. Her last day will be tomorrow. We wish her all the best in the future. I'd also like to thank Marianne Garado for 25 years of service to this board and to her community. She will be leaving us at the end of March. We're very grateful for all the institutional knowledge and dedication she has brought to this office. And all of that is going to pass to Raphael, our community assistant. It's the first time we've actually met you. Do you want to say hi to folks? Say hi, where you're from, where you graduated from, and what you're looking forward to.
Yeah. Hi, folks. I'm so excited to be here, and I've been working at Queens Community Board 2's office for the past year and a half, and this is the first time that I'm attending a board meeting, and I know that in the future we'll be interacting more often, and I'm looking forward to that. And amplifying the voices of the community, and I'm so excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we are definitely looking forward to working together. Raphael will help continue maintaining the critical services and operations. And the executive committee is ready to assist wherever needed. Community boards ultimately function because board members step up and support the work. And in short, the board runs the board. I want to briefly address the special meeting held on February 12th. That meeting involved personnel matters, which required executive session as permitted by Section 105 of the Open Meetings Law. The minutes have been shared for anyone who wishes to review them. The board made a collective decision on February 12th, following a careful evaluation process spanning a careful amount of time. The meeting was conducted in accordance with New York State Open Meetings Law, practicable notice given to the public. We had strong attendance of 32 board members in person, more than tonight for the actual board meeting. And some members of the public were on Zoom who left when we entered executive session. And the board voted to enter executive session under the Open Meetings Law, which permits discussion of personnel matters in closed session. Now to shift gears, I want to thank board members who did not reapply and are completing their terms. Thank you to those of you who put in your time, and it's round of applause to all of you, but also in particular, Lisa Deller. It's been an honor working with you, knowing you, and learning from you. And the board is lesser for you without it. So thank you so much for. Please say a few words. This is your last meeting. Can't let you go without it. Oh yeah, sure. If you take the mic.
Gosh, I haven't been up here in a long time. I used to be up here all the time. So I joined Community Board in 1998. Half of you were probably in grammar school. So the board's changed a lot since then. I have, I've been secretary, I've been second vice chair, I've been first vice chair, I've been land use chair, I was chair of community board, and now I'm just a member. But I've loved being on community board and throughout, and what I want to say about that is, we're all here with our vision to make our community a better place. And we all have different ideas about what that better place is, right? Like we just do. And, all the time I've been here, we've had opportunities to speak about Hunters Point South, every rezoning in Long Island City, Amazon, One LIC, your LIC, Sunnyside Woodside rezoning, millions of BSA applications. Chairing the Land Use Committee was a gift. I mean, it was really enabled community participation and feedback to agencies. We yelled at them. I mean, don't think that yelling at agencies is a bad thing. Yelling at agencies is your passion and your desire for your vision and what you think will make this a better community. And so everybody knows we're just going to yell. We're just gonna be critical. We're gonna stand up for what we believe, and that's the role of community board. So, don't kowtow, and bring all your passion. And it's been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life. So, thank you, thank you all. Thank you, Sheila, my partner forever. In crime. Sheila and I served for many years on the executive committee as vice chairs, and so thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheila. It's Lisa, sorry, because you said Sheila last. Is there anyone else who didn't reapply who wants to break the news to us now? No? Okay. Another giant.
I was kind of hoping you didn't know about any of this. I was like, Irish goodbye, which if anybody doesn't know what that means you just slip out and everybody goes, when did they leave? Yeah, it's been a very long time. I'm not a quiet person, as everyone can tell. Well, actually, I am at home. I think I am everything Lisa said, but I want to say going forward, some things that have come up in the last year more so than the past, and I only say this as hope. There are a lot of people right now on the community board, stay with me, who are running for office. I'm not one of them. But I think it's good to think about maybe in the future in the bylaws, having something where once you announce, you kind of step off. Because it's to be running your platform, you have your agendas, which you should. So I just know that I have felt it a little bit destabilizing to have so many people on the board at the same time running, because there are factions. I wish you all well. I hope you all get into office. But I did want to share that because I've seen it more this year than I have in the past. I also really encourage, I understand the anger at what's happening in the world. I have it. So I bring up some pretty tough things that I get abused for, trust me, outside of here. Things I even said tonight. But listen to each other. Don't shut each other down. Look for more ways to welcome dissent, to welcome, disagreement. Even though you may feel very angry at those who have kind of taken advantage of it in the past. So I'm proud to have done this. I'm going to start crying. I didn't want to do this. And so grateful for people like Lisa, Danielle, Tanya, Amparo, people I've been here with a long time, Camille, so many people. And I wish you all well. I really do. And keep in touch. Got a lot of, I just gave all that stuff to Prameet. If Lisa and I were gone, no, you guys would forget that O'Connor Properties got 19 variances. So they owe us something for that land. So please find a way to tap into the people who have been here a long time and are leaving. Even if it's a twice-a-year meeting with them, take us for a beverage, I won't say what kind, and say, this shit's in front of us. We go, but we want to support the community being better. So, thank you.
You're staying also for the bylaws committee report.
Oh, we have it now? We have a
committee update.
Okay, well, we're not voting.
We're not voting today.
Okay,
If we're going to do discussion, we have to do it tonight. We should do the discussion today. Yeah. We should probably.
I have my notes.
Sheila, you're not off the hook yet because we had the bylaws committee update here. We should definitely have the recording of this. And let's also look into a special meeting in the calendar, and we'll distribute that. But if you have your notes with you, let's have that
Let me go grab
now.
them. I can do like actors, you leave the scene to start a new scene. So. I will start by saying Patrick Martinez, who is the chair and the vice chair, he couldn't be here this evening. And so I'm stepping up to do this. And I'm going to read a lot of what I wrote because I don't want to forget things. First of all, big thank you to Patrick. And then the committee as well, Nellie, Randy, Maury, Stephen, Michael, Pia, Roz, Eric, Leticia, and Anatol. This was the committee, and we met, did I forget anybody? Okay. We met starting in December, beginning of December through March. We were on a pretty tight schedule to make sure to get the bylaws here at this meeting to be voted on so that new board members could come in and not be burdened with some of that discussion. We met about 4 to 5 times, but there was a lot of communication in addition to that via Google Docs and emails continuously. Drafts were shared with the full board. All meetings were public and recorded, I believe, even. Yeah. So we received some feedback from the general board, but not a lot, and sent a final draft to the full board and after the February meeting for everybody to look at for any last feedback for today. And tonight we had planned, I have to change some of my stuff from planned to planned, to finalize bylaws to carry the board forward until the next review in approximately 4 years. However, the board can amend the bylaws at any time if there's a need with resolutions. That is in the bylaws. So if there's some great need, some big thing happens, just has to be a vote of the majority of the board. Most of the revision work was to clarify roles, rules, responsibilities, and expectations. Much of that work was grammatical. I really call out Michael. He's the grammatical fix-it king, guru. I like no kings, no kings. Yeah. Apologies for that. Areas that the task force focused on, because a lot of it didn't need a lot of focus, but that we did focus on, that came up a lot. Duties of officers, especially like fleshing out the treasurer, because the treasurer is doing a whole lot more now. Voting, because there were some issues around voting, which I'll get into a little bit more specifically in a minute. The district manager's position, the work of the personnel committee, and then a new thing that was introduced by 2 members of the task force. They founded it on other community boards called, with different names, but we're calling it dissenting opinions addendum. So before we start, I want to say the board can, well, we can't tonight, but could accept the current draft as one that, well, yes, we submitted it as a task force. That's the draft that was submitted. Task force members dissent, which I found super ironic, is over the inclusion of having an opportunity to have dissenting opinions on actual votes of the board. It was probably the most contested thing. There were 2 things that were. And so just to explain that, although we can have some discussion, but it's not a vote tonight, is 2 people brought up that they found in other bylaws a different wording for dissenting opinions. In other words, in the case of 1LIC, since that was recent, or in the case of bike lanes, because I brought this up in history, if the majority of the board voted for something or against something, then as long as you had 5 members who disagreed with that, they could, within a week of that final report, add an addendum that would be a dissenting opinion as to why they voted no, if there was some good cause. And there's discussions about whether, does that weaken the board? Does that strengthen the board? And there are arguments to be made on all sides of that. But it was in the final draft that was sent out, included with a 5-member minimum, would have to do that within 1 week. I'm not going to proselytize from up here and tell you how I felt, because that to me is not my role as a leader. I don't believe the person who is chair should be doing that. We should be listening to other people. So the one other area that we had conflict on was around votes for officers. Because in the prior version of the bylaws, we had it so votes could be done, you write them down, they wouldn't be like so public. That was because the interpretation we had allowed for that. During this discussion, a number of people felt very strongly that that should all be public, and then somebody did find the Bloomberg administration had put forth an interpretation of the charter that said those need to be public. There was something we didn't have before. And so because of that, we have changed the way it's written so that those votes must be public. So those are 2 of the more significant changes. And okay, lastly, before I open it up to questions, preferably from people who were not on the task force, because we had plenty of discussion in the working group. I kind of said that already. Oh, so areas change voting, personnel committee, expanded the workload a little bit. One of the things that was added was that, and especially given what's going on, that the personnel committee would have the responsibility of succession planning as being part of ongoing operations, so that we're always prepared, because anything can happen to anybody, willingly, unwillingly. So making sure the board is always supported, the office is supported, so that's in there, that's a personnel committee responsibility. Treasurer, as I said, there was a lot that was flushed out. Thank you, Michael. The dissenting opinion thing. And I don't want to leave out what opens it, the preamble, which I thought was quite beautiful, that Nellie really put in, and I will read it, and that will be the last thing I will say. Queens Community Board 2, hereinafter referred to as the board, honors its diversity and affirms its commitment to inclusion, accessibility, community empowerment, and meaningful civic participation. Neighborhoods in the district include Long Island City, Sunnyside, Woodside, as well as parts of Maspeth. It is also inclusive of the areas of Blissville, you hear that, Tom, out there somewhere? Hunters Point and Sunnyside Gardens. So really beautiful to open our bylaws, reminding ourselves of why we are here, and that we're all really here unto that, even if we disagree on some things. So, long-winded. Any questions from non-task force members? Any feedback from non-task force members?
Yeah, no, thank you, Sheila. That was all really great to hear and very well said, and I appreciate the work that went into this, the whole committee. The only question I had was to follow up on something that came up last month around whether having the dissenting opinion as something that we document would then be confusing to like external stakeholders, like city agencies that want to know like what was the board's vote on this, and it starts to get muddied. So I don't know if there's been any follow-up on that, or if we would want to think about like whether, like how, basically how we put a letter on letterhead, but making sure the dissenting opinion is sort of marked clearly and how we keep it in the record or anything like that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but that's the only thing I was wondering about.
Again, I really try to not, that gets to the question of that came up about whether or not it waters down the vote of the board. Some people feel it does, some people feel it doesn't. As far as the mechanism, I think we could probably look at what other boards are doing with that, because it's a number of other boards are doing it. My understanding, having looked around, is it doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
We can complain, we can make noise in here, but then to go and get together with some other people and to do that work, being honest, it just doesn't happen that often.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't have an answer for that. I'd have to ask people doing it. And then it gets to, well, just because it hasn't happened, should we try it? Should we reanimate it? I'm not, again, because I really like to hear from everybody, going to say, but I tend to be of the world of trying more accessibility.
Sure, yeah,
And
of course.
then, like I said, you can amend the bylaws anytime.
Cool, thanks.
Do we want the task force to know? Because I don't know if because we're not voting.
Right, since we're not voting, yeah,
It's on
go
the
ahead.
task force.
Non-task force members. Sorry? Oh, you weren't, yes.
Oh, you just chimed in all the time? Then I should have thanked you.
So I appreciate all the work that the task members did. I'm sure it was a ton to update the bylaws. I wasn't on the committee, so I will proselytize just a little bit. I'm worried about ULURP, particularly because even though our ULURP votes are advisory, they're transmitted directly to the City Planning Commission and the council, and they're part of a formal decision-making process. What I would like to see in our dissenting opinion framework is a carve-out for ULURP. I think clarity in the board's recommendation, especially for ULURP, really matters. I think appending multiple dissenting opinions to a land use resolution could create confusion or at worst dilute the signal we're trying to send to the city. And for that reason, I know we're not voting today, but whenever we do vote on it, I'm gonna try to add a friendly amendment to get a ULURP carve-out in there. Hopefully that amendment passes. If not, I'm gonna vote no for these bylaws, and I would encourage other people to do the same. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you, and I apologize for thanking you for being on the task force. You were so active. No, I don't apologize for thanking you. I thank you for your input.
Maury, sorry, did you have a response, Sheila? Oh, no, that was a comment, yes. Danielle, Maury's next.
Hi, thank you for recognizing me. I just want to say that I don't agree that we should have a carve out for ULURP. I think land use is one of our most important areas that we work on as a community board, and I think it's especially important that dissenting opinion have a voice. But I think it's also important to notice and to think for us to look at what other boards are doing and how they are addressing this issue. And one thing I will say in all my years on the board, one thing that comes up over and over and over again when we were voting on, whether we were voting on land use issues or in other committees, we always talk about how the city never looks at anything other than the vote. Was it a yes vote or a no vote? And then they don't really look beyond that. That argument has been used over and over and over again for the ways we worded bills. I think we're in Congress. The way we've worded our motions. So I think it's definitely not an issue there. And I want to further say, if you have a board of 50 members and you have 30 or 35 or 37 people voting in favor of something, and then there's a few people that have a dissenting opinion, I think, as it's been said before, it strengthens the board that shows we're making clear the voice. And I don't think in any way, shape, or form it's going to dilute our votes or what the city sees as our votes, because they're going to see what our decision is. There's going to be an addendum that shows that. And in some cases, I would argue, just like what we saw with the Supreme Court last week, and I know we're not the Supreme Court, but with the Supreme Court last week, you had one dissenting opinion. And the fact that there's so few people dissenting actually gives some emotions even more strength. But it gives, I think, the whole board more strength and visibility and transparency and the ability to let everyone to give context to why something was opposed. So again, like I don't mean to dredge it up again, but like years ago when bike lanes were a big issue, what is the context and why were the people that, and again, we go and talking about minutes like Dr. Roz was talking about last month, minutes are not supposed to have a play-by-play. So you don't get that context if the minutes are done correctly. They talk about what was done, not everything that was said. So I think it's really important for us as a board to be open and transparent, to have a dissenting voice. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Daniel?
Thanks, Maureen.
So I wasn't going to talk about this, but I do agree. I like the minority opinion. I think that's a smart move. Dissenting opinion. But actually what I was going to ask about is what I brought up, I guess, last month, which was our voting for officers and not voting like as a slate. Sorry, I couldn't. Yeah, because I will not vote, I will make that amendment whenever we are voting, but I can't, I just do not think it's appropriate to force people to have to vote for a whole slate.
Thank you, and I can say that was an oversight that was meant to be included in the draft that was, so. But now I have to wait until we have a friendly amendment then.
Although, the only time people would vote as a slate was when there was no opposition to any position.
But as a voter, I have the right to always vote uncommitted or write somebody.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, that was the only time that we recommended that, just to clarify.
It was just an oversight that. Go ahead.
Thanks. I wanted to talk about two housekeeping things, not the dissenting that I think will, this keeps cutting out. I'm not sure if people can hear me or not. So I think this is just clarifying, but I don't think the language in the bylaws reflects this. The first is around the, thanks. Okay, new mic. So two issues that I think we just it's just cleaning up language. So with respect to nominations and elections of officers, you preloaded this, that we had this extensive discussion about whether we have to publish the records of what individual people voted on in terms of the elections of officers. And we learned from this kind of guidance from Corporation Council from 2014, and then also from talking to Alan Swisher, that we are required to publish this, that each member's vote, including for the election of officers, must be conducted by open ballot and published in the minutes. And The language that we have before us actually, I think, makes this less clear than the language we had in 2022. And so I think because we're not voting, I can't offer the friendly amendment now, but I'm just going to narrate it, and then maybe we can sort of include this in the main package, because I don't think this is actually controversial. This is just reflecting what we just talked about. So what's currently before us, page 4, Article 8, number 2, says, the election outcome will be announced in the meeting and published in the meeting minutes. This is actually, I would say, less clear than what's currently in the bylaws, which says each member's vote will be reported in the published minutes of the meeting. As you talked about, we had this extensive conversation, which included feedback from the Borough President's office and some historic Corporation Council's guidance that said we have to actually include each member's vote. So I would propose replacing the language that's in the current proposal that says the election outcome will be announced in the meeting and published in the meeting minutes with, pursuant to New York City regulations, the election outcome will be announced in the meeting and each member's vote will be reported in the published minutes of the meeting. The phrase pursuant to New York City regulations is something Steve Cooper proposed. It's currently proposed to be at the front of the paragraph where it says we vote in December, but there's nothing in New York City law that says we have to vote in December, so it really doesn't make any sense for it to be at the beginning of the paragraph. So I'm proposing we move it from there to in front of this sentence and change it the way I described. I don't think that's controversial. I'll send this via email, but just because I don't want us to have the same conversation in 4 years where we debate for 2 hours about whether it's a good idea and then we learn it actually doesn't matter what we think because the law prescribes us to do it one way.
Well, Michael, I do want to clarify something you said, though, because Alan Swisher was a part of the conversation 4 years ago, and we had his guidance on whether that we did not have to do it. So it wasn't until we got that written documentation from 2014 that was from the Bloomberg administration this time, but that Alan Swisher said, yes, we do. So it's out there.
I'm not sure about that because our current bylaws in 2022 say literally each member's vote will be
I am
included
sure about it
in the
because I
minutes.
was there and I have the emails.
Yeah, well, he said this time, he said we have to do it, and so I think,
But you're putting it out there as if, and I'm taking a little bit of offense to the fact that you're putting it out there as if we didn't have legal counsel from the Borough President's office on exactly what we did.
No, I don't believe I said that, and I certainly didn't intend to. But the language in our 2022 bylaws does require us that, our current language says that we're doing this, and I'm just proposing that we continue to keep the language that way. Yeah, the second point that I wanted to chat about, and I think, again, we had a conversation about this in our final committee meeting, and I just want to say it here so that when we change, I'll send this via email, and then when we have a vote, we won't have to talk about it next time. Is around page 14, Article 21, voting number 8, chairperson voting. So this is new language. Our current bylaws say nothing restricting when a chairperson can vote. It turns out that same Corporation Council guidance that we were just talking about says, and I quote, chairperson voting, community board chairs have the same voting rights and obligations as other members. A board's bylaws may not exclude the chairperson from voting on matters before the board, nor may they restrict the chairperson to voting only to break a tie. When we had this conversation as a committee, we kind of said, okay, we're not gonna include this in the bylaws if the guidance from the Corporation Council, this community board handbook from 2014 says we can't do this. So my understanding was that we were not going to include that provision since it's not consistent with this guidance. So I don't think this is controversial because this is what I recall us discussing at the meeting. I would just propose we omit this number 8 chairperson voting language that's been proposed to be added because it's not consistent. If there's controversy.
Propose it, in the end, it was left the way it is because it's more of a guidance to saying that the chairperson should retain some impartiality to allow, so they're not anointing a decision one way or the other before you get to hear from everybody. So that's why it came out in the end like this, and nobody said, we discussed it in the meeting. We found out, because we discussed whether or not they actually were a voting member and different things. But you can propose it when we do the vote. I just think there'll be some discussion as to the intention behind this is to encourage the chair to always maintain impartiality. In the end, they can still vote.
Yeah, I think if the language means anything at all, it contradicts the guidance from Corporation Council.
I don't see how that contradicts it.
Well, I'll say my recollection from the meeting, and unfortunately, we actually didn't vote as a committee on the proposal, was that we were not going to include this. I didn't think that we had intended to include this, but if you feel that there is an actual controversy here, then I guess we'll just talk about it when you have a vote.
Well, I was not the final decision on whether it's stated or not, so I can't speak exactly to that.
Okay.
All I can speak to is that I remember in some of the discussions, the intention is that the chair still retains some, appearance of impartiality.
All right, so I'll send this as feedback via email, and either, the I guess bylaw committee chair can include it or not, and then we'll discuss it next month.
The draft isn't going to change until the meeting. You just have to bring it to when we have the meeting as a suggested amendment, and then we'll have discussion.
I have a question. As chair, it's a very impartial question. Special meeting on March 19th, Thursday, March 19th. I put that in the chat for the Zoom. I think we owe it to new members to not ask them to have to deal with this. And then folks who didn't re-up get a second chance of maybe some cake.
I wanted another meeting.
You're not off the hook, you don't get out that easy. But I think we should, commit to that date if we can. Well,
We should kind of have Patrick and you do it.
right. Well, we were only off by 2, so today, so we just need 3 or more to make sure that we're here in person. But I think that's when we should pick this up again. Rafael has confirmed that the CB2 calendar is free. And now we just need to find a very accessible location that's central and next to a train, like Melton Cups
We
was.
can't do this online, this has to be.
Well, we just have to find out if they're available here. But otherwise, yeah, let's save it for then. And thank you, Sheila, and thank you for Sheila, Roz, and Maury. No, but you all in particular, because 4 years ago this took over a year, and we tried to. Yeah, Lisa, you were there too, right? But you weren't on the committee this time, but yeah. But it took over a year, so it's because you did so much work that we were able to almost vote on this tonight in 3 months. Mike, yeah.
You got a lot done. Thank you, everybody, very much. And even the Discord with you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Okay, very, very briefly, I'd like to encourage you for that special meeting to go again, check with the libraries, because the libraries, the Woodside Library, the Sunnyside, a little bit more centrally located for the last meeting. The reason the Long Island City Library was picked was because they were the only ones that happened to have a room available that night. And yet it was really not very accessible to most of the committee, and so that's why that decision was changed.
Right, and it was tentative from the beginning. Great, so let's just breeze through committee reports and then get to booking the 19th. All right, Riley. Oh, I'm sorry, treasurer report. Did you have anything? I can talk about it. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess,
Okay, good evening, folks. Really quick, thanks to, in particular, Carissa and Eric for sending really detailed, feedback about how potential uses of the board's remaining operational budget funds. The executive committee, I think, in March will meet later in the month, and hopefully we can make some decisions around that. But can't say anything just yet. But yeah, thanks to folks for weighing in on different ways we can use the board's operational budget. We've also had, a pretty extensive conversation on land use. Permita's led a discussion around land use consultants as another potential use for the board's operational budget, and we're sort of sorting through the process. So that's all I've got as far as updates. Appreciating all the engagement on that, and hopefully next month we'll have some more updates on potential uses of the board's remaining funds for the fiscal year. Thanks.
mic?
You know, just to make sure that they're registered with the city.
Yeah.
All right. For everybody here, like if you just throw something out, they have to be in the city system in order, or to apply to be in the city system. So you can't just randomly spend money.
Yeah, of course. We are we are carefully following processes, observations from other boards, and I think we will be very close with the borough president's office just to ensure we're doing everything exactly right. But yeah, definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. Transportation Committee met on Tuesday, 2 nights ago, and I have some updates. We had a presentation from the Department of Design and Construction about the Court Square pedestrian improvements. The same presentation that I had seen or I had attended personally, they brought to us for a letter of approval from our committee. It's a good project, pedestrian improvements. As I reported last time, it makes some street changes that expands the sidewalk area and turns around Court Square Park, Court Square West into a shared street where traffic has to move a lot slower so that pedestrians can use it. And Court Square East will become a one-way street from Thompson Avenue towards Jackson Avenue to increase sidewalk space, get some trees planted, and increase climate resiliency to absorb more water. I wish I could share it with you. I will tell you with the website where the presentation is, and maybe we could share it in the link, but it is a long one. It is NYC.gov/site/projects/community-presentations.page. So you guys can watch the video and write that down. The committee has voted in favor of this project with the added request of a public restroom, which is not part of the plan, secure bike parking, and a counterflow bike lane on Court Square East towards Thompson Avenue so that Court Square Park and LaGuardia College and further on can remain connected by bicycle. That is that. We had a second presentation from advocates for the Queens Link, which is a project that would connect the M train from Rego Park to the Rockaways using a pre-existing right-of-way on an abandoned Long Island Railroad track. It is, I think, a great project. Our board or our committee did not vote on it yet because it was new to some people and they wanted to do further research. There's a competing project that's already been funded by the previous mayor called Queens Way, and that's where a lot of the confusion comes from. There's Queens Way and Queens Link. Queens Link would be a connection of the M train. Queens Way is a public park and greenway using the same space, but would not be any sort of transit. I personally favor connecting the community. The reason they came to our committee is because there is a report coming out with a lot of great figures about the economic benefits of this project and why connecting communities and reducing car usage from further out in Queens would benefit our particular district. So look for that. There is some material that they left with us to pass out here available for you. And then our committee will vote on it at our next meeting. Otherwise, I got an update from the MTA about the 7 train construction, the Flushing Line state of good repair. This is separate from the elevator work at 33rd and 46th Street, which, because we always want to know, I will say is originally slated for completion Q3 of this year. I think that had a later start than their planned date, so it's probably going to be later than that, but I don't know. I don't have an update on that. But for the work going on at 52nd Street, 61st Street, and 69th Street to revitalize the stations that have been in disrepair, I have dates of completion for certain things. Specifically, you may have noticed that the Manhattan-bound side of those stations, 52nd, 61st, and 69th, has been closed. The construction will complete on May 25th. Once that construction completes, the reverse side, the Flushing-bound side, will be shut down, and the project is probably going to be completed Q3 of next year, 2027. And this is, again, state of good repair work on the train stations. They are in real disrepair. The work has been extended because all of the steel has been rotted out, and they've had to replace a lot of steel beams and girders while keeping the trains running. That's that. From DOT, not too many updates, but we brought up that there are a lot of potholes because of the winter weather, and our DOT rep asked that if there's any major potholes that you want fixed, to report it to DOT, report it to 3011, send the report to Raphael, and we'll get that fixed, looked at and fixed. Q60 bus line on the Queens Boulevard is going to be getting automated camera enforcement beginning March 16th. So automated camera enforcement will ticket anybody who is parked in a bus lane or blocking a bus corridor. That begins March 16th. There's a 60-day warning period. If you are parked in a bus stop or impeding a bus, you will get a letter in the mail saying that you have done so. After 60 days, you'll get a ticket in the mail for that. That is to improve bus service on the Q60. We, as a committee, voted in favor of a dedicated bus line on Queens Boulevard for the extent of our district and beyond at this last meeting. Sorry, there's a couple more updates. And then Queens Bus, MTA is conducting a survey about the Queens Bus Network redesign, which closes tomorrow. It was supposed to close earlier, but it was extended because of the weather. You can fill out that quick survey at mta.info/QBNR survey 1. And then finally, I attended a briefing about greenways from the EDC. There is also a survey that they are accepting suggestions for. Here's another website. This is edc.nyc/citywide-greenways. Thank you for that. I don't know what to do about websites, but maybe somebody could put that in the chat. A 5-minute survey. They presented greenway ideas, but they're looking for more greenway ideas. What they showed in our district is to turn the Queens Boulevard bike lane into a greenway for the extent of Queens Boulevard, which would make it a much nicer place to be. And then what we call the Blissville Greenway from Blissville and on down through Maspeth could become a greenway as well into South Queens and Brooklyn. That is it. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions? Carlos.
So my understanding about the Queensway, Queenslink thing is partially that the transit project is a lot more expensive, and I think the city maybe lost some money from the federal government on the park project, but generally speaking, I think it's easier to do, and I want to make sure that a project happens. So the extent that the committee decides that they want to support the Queenslink project, I would suggest that you guys don't necessarily denounce the Queensway project, saying that like doing a project is equally as important as doing the project that we want, just because I don't want the city to think that we would want some other project when they've already funded another one that they can do, and I think both projects have merit. So that's just my comment.
Yeah, I think if we had had a vote, it would be to, and so I don't want to hold up everybody here, but the Queenslink project includes a couple of places where the right-of-way allows for parkland around the tracks. The problem is if you build a park on this right-of-way, then it's a park forever, and there's no longer a chance to become transit. If you build transit, then you have transit, and we talk a lot about what's going to happen when everybody moves here and the trains are crowded. So the Queenslink would offer more service on the M train, which would take people off of the 7 train, but it would also allow the extension of the G train to Forest Hills, which affects our district a lot. Again, I don't have, I have the information that Queenslink gave us. Queensway has not come to us with a project, so we're doing further research. But the other part of that is because they got federal funding for Queensway to start, the people in charge of Queensway are starting right in an area where the boring tunnel would start for Queenslink. So if that competing project starts, then Queenslink faces a real challenge. So that's why the report coming out about QueensLink is important, and why they're asking for more action more quickly. But again, that's not a value judgment. Let's do some research, because it would affect our district if there were more transit options. Queensway would be great, but it is a greenway in a different part of Queens from us, so it'd be nice to get there. Yes, Sheila.
I'm different question, but I'm coming back to that. I understand a park space can be demapped to be reused for other purposes. So I don't think it becoming park space excludes the possibility of it being demapped and remapped.
No, yeah, my comment was just about the fact that for community support, if everybody's enjoying a park, like imagine, I don't know, like turning the High Line into a train line now, like to take away a park from a community.
But technically it can happen.
It can be, yeah.
Right.
It's a much more challenging thing to do.
Right. And then the question actually I had is, one, I want to thank you for the 4 stop signs around the Queens Midtown Tunnel exit onto Borden.
Oh, yeah.
However, it's actually creating new issues.
Okay.
Because they're so far apart. And with the train tracks there, the original design, which had signaling and also turning lanes in both directions from Borden. So people going in and out, when you're going east on Borden, cars going into the tunnel wouldn't hold up all the cars that are trying to go straight up Borden, if that makes sense. Again, I'm happy if you want to come down there to walk over there, we can get a cup of cocoa and show you that. But I do appreciate that they're stop signs.
Oh, sure, thank you. If you'll send me an email about particular problems you're seeing now that
Sure.
I can
New video?
bring to DOT, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brad?
Yeah, hi. I
Brad
just
Lamore.
want, I'm virtual here. The Q60, I appreciate the video monitoring of cars in the bus lane. I think that's great. I don't think that's the main issue with the Q60, I'm just going to say. I think there's not enough bus service on the Q60 at rush hour. There's buses that are full that are passing people by. It's getting clumped up. So I think there's a bigger sort of, structural issue with the Q60 that should really be looked at, because I do think that having more reliable bus service on Queens Boulevard will serve a lot of people in the district better. That's all I wanted to say. And I'm happy to discuss this further with you, Riley, or the Transportation Committee. Thank you.
Sure, no, thank you. That's, that's good to know.
Lauren?
Thank you.
I might have missed it, but what happened with the Q60 in terms of the bus stop moving across 39th Street? Is that still happening, or?
My update from last month is pretty much where we are, which is that they do want to move it across the street. They want to build a bus boarding island like they're doing for the other stops on Queens Boulevard. And our DOT rep said that existing utilities in the current area prevent that from happening. So it makes more sense to them across the street, or it just works better. We have to trust what everyone says, but we can advocate for that. Our committee has drafted a letter of resolution asking for safer crossing, just a redesigned intersection to make the crossing safer and shorter. And at our meeting on Tuesday, he said that they're in talks about what that looks like. And it sounded like they might have something. All right, Corey?
Yeah, thanks. So just 2 points. One, just on the QueensLink. Carlos, I share your feelings about support for a project that has funding versus a project that, we hope would get funding, right? I raised as much in the committee, and one of the things we discussed is when this actually goes to a motion, that we sort of ask that, at least as far as Queensway goes, we ask that the design preserve to the extent possible the ability to revisit and bring rail activation. I don't know the layout of the land, but basically just saying we support Queensway as a funded Greenway project, but we also recognize the much greater benefit of bringing rail activation to this corridor for our district, for the whole borough, and to the extent that we can keep that possibility alive as we proceed with Queensway, that would be the most desirable outcome. So that's one of the things that we had discussed that might have come up if it had gone to a vote. Also on the Q60 point, I think an interesting thing to keep in mind is poor frequency and poor consistency with bus bunching. Both of those do see benefits from dedicated bus lanes. The bus lane, right, pulling the bus out of traffic helps, keep the service consistent so the buses don't bunch up. And then, with busways, right, depending on how big of an improvement it is, you actually see an increase in frequency with the same number of buses and drivers just because buses are finishing their route faster and turning around and serving it again. Obviously, it's not a silver bullet, but I think that a dedicated busway or a bus lane could go a long way to addressing those real concerns about rush hour frequencies. And it's something that the city has the power to do without having to go to the MTA and asking for their help. So just some stuff to consider.
Cool. Thank you, Corey. And like I said, there's a survey open until tomorrow about the Queens Bus Network.
Yeah, I just want you to know that Sunnyside Community Services and the Senior Center continue to advocate to not move the bus. So your sort of attitude, I think, about, the guy said that they want to move it, we're going to make the crossing safer. I would really hope, as a parting wish, that you would stand up for what the community wishes and, take a strong stand about not moving the bus stop.
Sure, yeah, and I have all along the way. We've made resolutions and letters, and I've personally sent letters. I'm just communicating that the MTA and DOT have said we're moving ahead. And I've asked why, and I've reported here. And it takes more than just me because I've done that. So continued advocacy from everybody. If everybody has sent a letter, that's great, but I have certainly done it.
It's more than letters, so
No,
I'd
like to say something here because, this is, the DOT and so on, they presented some very clear technical reasons and so on, but there are other solutions, like how about a mid-block crossing right here in front of Sunnyside Community Services? We love Sunnyside Community Services. We want to meet their needs. It's not about that. Let's find the solution. And I think I've been really pushing for a mid-block, protected light right here, crosswalk. So that's, maybe we have to talk to BMW and some of that other side of the street traffic, but, let's just consider that as a possibility. I 100% agree. We definitely don't want to be deaf to the needs of Sunnyside Community Services.
Yeah, no, again, I appreciate it. I've done, we have so many elected officials, and I've written to them all, and I've brought it up at every meeting, Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, one more? One more online?
Yeah,
Corey, quickly.
I'll just say super briefly, just in the spirit of Roz's comment, right? I think something that's come out of this discussion about this bus stop is that this street is not safe, right? And I think it's important that we show up in solidarity with Sunnyside, Community Services and emphasize their concerns with regards to the siting of the bus stop, and to the extent that it's technically possible, just try to get them to not move it. But I think, it behooves us to also talk to DOT about, hey, this is not a safe crossing. Can we make the crossing safer? That way, at least if the bus stop has to be moved, we're addressing the real safety concerns of seniors that are trying to cross here, right? I think that's kind of what we're getting at, is that there's two agencies here, and we want to, address them within their sort of realms of control, right? And really, moving the bus stop does not address the real problems of this not being a safe crossing for people. So I think we can kind of get at two targets with one, I want a less violent metaphor than 2 versus 1 stove, but you know what I mean.
I want to thank you, Corey, Roz, too, for those comments.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Riley. Lauren?
Okay, for Health and Human Services, so our scheduled speakers for our February meeting were not able to attend. So what ended up happening is we had an impromptu discussion about how to amplify our voices as a committee so that, the information gets out. And one of the things, because I want to give a shout out to actually the Community Engagement Committee, because one of the things that came up was the fact that we had the links to the recorded meetings. And then we've advertised that in the newsletter. And so that's also gotten interest and been able to spread the word. And what we were thinking about that in particular was when we had Evie Litwack from Witness to Mass Incarceration come and present. And it led to a bunch of different things, like in terms of a relationship with her. Our next meeting is on Monday, March 5th, and we have scheduled a presentation from Love Mentoring. They were originally scheduled to speak a few months ago, so hopefully they can still make it. And we'll also have a discussion about some changes that are going on with the City View Shelter, and that'll be led by Warren Davis. So that's it. So hope you can make it. It's a virtual meeting.
March 9th.
Did I say March
5th.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm tired.
The rain. I think the rain also played. Thanks. No worries. Thanks, Lauren. Danielle.
Short. Our meeting is City Services and Public Safety is next week on Wednesday, the 11th at 6:30 at the office. We had a fairly uneventful meeting last month. It was a month ago. Mostly just some liquor license. There's some noise issues that we're trying to work through, but mostly it was just pretty straightforward liquor license and a lot of people who didn't show up. So if you're interested though, our next meeting is Wednesday. Thanks.
Thank you. Pramit.
Hey, so for land use, the biggest thing that we had in our meeting was the ULURP application from Parks that we all heard about today. We also received an update from DCP that the DEP combined sewer overflow tunnel project that came to us a couple of months ago, that's now advanced from the City Planning Commission to review by the City Council. We also asked DCP to give us monthly updates on the HPD Hunters Point parcels and the pending DOE RFP, so hopefully we'll get some updates on that soon. Michael also mentioned this, but we're having a conversation about potentially engaging an outside land use or zoning consultant to help strengthen our technical review capacity. A lot of these projects are getting more complex and beyond our technical capabilities, so it'll be nice to have someone that we can call on, so more on that soon. And the last thing I want to mention is that we have a new committee vice chair. So Tanya has agreed to be the land use vice chair. Thank you, Tanya. That's it for me.
Ori, did you have a meeting this month? We'll come back to it. Sorry, he's got to be unmuted.
We did not have a meeting, so this will be a quick. I just want to say March 24th, 5 p.m. is our next meeting, online virtual. And we're going to speak about planning for a small business fair in the community with different agencies.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Tanya and also our next engagement and inclusion chair.
Yeah, so we did St. Patrick's for All. Thank you for everyone that came. It was actually nice to see you all, but we did a boo-boo. We missed getting the banner. And I have to say thank you for everyone that came, because that did not matter at all. Everyone marched with the same excitement and energy. So that was actually great to see, because I was worried, I have to say that. And we have...
And we were fashionable. We had our blue ribbons,
yes.
Our CB2 blue ribbons.
And we did get blue ribbons. So at least we got that. So just a reminder for next year. But we have a new chair, and it's Lisa Charles. Lisa has a lot of experience with community engagement projects, and we're super excited to see her thrive. So thank you, Lisa. I don't know if you want to say a few words.
When you come back, Carlos?
Just very briefly, we had our meeting with the Land Use Committee last month. This coming month, we're going to be having another meeting with Land Use Committee, but also we're going to be having our normal meeting at the end of March, March 26th, and then we'll probably, because we had 2 meetings in March, we'll probably skip our committee meeting in April, just so folks know.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the committees are where, you know, the work is done, so, except we also needed to do work tonight. So, March 19th, keep an eye out for our special meeting, because we cannot let new members have to deal with bylaws, and we were only off by 2, so I want at least 30 people at that meeting in person, with the usual folks who need to be on Zoom. You will count towards that as well. So we'll, March 19th, we'll keep an eye out for the location, and our next regular board meeting is April 9th, 2026, for the holidays on April 2nd. All right. Motion to adjourn? Second. All right. Good night. Thanks so much.